Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. I get a lot of correspondence from folks on this topic, sort of vaccination and requirements associated with vaccination here in Thailand. Mostly comes up in the context of Thai immigration. I get a lot of correspondence. Is this going to be a mandatory thing? Are we going to be required to do this? And, I'm kind of out there with everybody else, as far as I'm just seeing what's coming out mostly out of the press. Again, and I prefaced a lot of these videos where I discuss this, I'm not an anti-vaccination guy by a long shot. I believe vaccines are a modern medical marvel. I've said that many, many times. Really, frankly, I don't even like that in a sense, I kind of have to preface it because people make a lot of assumptions about people with respect to, one specific opinion they may have under a specific narrow set of circumstances, and they think that that opinion applies to them in sort of a overly broad context. In this case, not at all. My issue is not with vaccines. I'm happy vaccines have rolled out. I'm happy that folks that want them have gotten them. I'm happy that the symptoms of this disease have been mitigated in folks who were especially at risk. That's all great. That's fantastic. My concern generally on this whole topic lies in the notion of mandatory, making, in other jurisdictions notably, and to Thailand's credit, I want to be clear, they have never said, government officials, we've done videos, some folks kind of hinted at things, but hinting is one thing. There's never been, to my mind, from what I've seen, any type of broad consensus in favor of anything akin to a mandate, and it appears that's still the case. But to be clear, my concern is more of a legal one, and it's more from a notion of human rights. And I have the same concern with respect to American jurisdictions, the states in America, as well as the federal government. And courts in the United States have pushed back on this. They have enjoined the federal government from a number of different mandates associated with medical decisions on a personal level, and I think that's a good thing. People need to have the ability to make their own decisions and have their own medical privacy. I've noted this before. One of the big things that sort of has bothered me throughout this is the medical privacy seemingly gets thrown out the window. I mean, for example, just things like testing in order to be able to travel. This was unheard of just not even 24 months ago. And now it seems to be, in a very ubiquitous sense, it seems to be kind of somewhat accepted or at least tolerated. And okay, that may make some sense under narrow circumstances during a very brief period of time, but again, there is a notion of medical privacy, doctor-patient confidentiality. The decisions one makes with respect to their own medical situation should be that individual's own, in my opinion, and I think there's a lot of law, for example, on doctor-patient confidentiality that backs that up, or medical privacy that backs that up. That being said, and the reason for the video is, yeah, like I said, I've had a lot of correspondence from folks that seem to be concerned about whether or not, certain things can be made mandatory. And a recent article from from ASEAN Now, that's ASEANnow.com, article is titled, "Thailand Fails to Meet 100 Million Vaccine Target by Father's Day. No one is being forced to get vax." And so there's a senior official of the Thai Public Health Ministry, and I'm going to quote directly now, Dr. Kiatpum Wongjarit said that 93 million on Saturday and an anticipated 94 million Sunday was still a good effort. So as they're talking about in the title, the thrust of this article was about, Thailand failed to meet the 100 million vaccine target, which, okay, failed to meet it, but 94 million, that's a lot of, jabs and arms. I mean, so, it's still a good effort, as quoted here. But quoting further and more pertinent to this article, quoting directly, pressed by the media, and I'll get back to that in a minute, pressed by the media if people would be forced to have vaccinations in Thailand, Dr. Kiatpum stressed that was not the case. Having a vaccination remained a matter of volunteering. And he goes on in the article to note that, it's a good idea to get vaccinated. Folks should, seriously consider it, depending on their own health situation, those kinds of things. But a couple of things. First of all, pressed by the media, I wonder, the media in the last year and a half or so, I've started to kind of depending on the outlet and depending on the sort of media actor, I've kind of taken some issue with the media, especially if you go back to some of my videos in April, where the way that they would kind of tilt things or sort of the way they presented the narrative, I felt in certain situations was a little bit concerning. I'll leave it at that. But that said, and quoting again directly from this article, having a vaccination remained a matter of volunteering. So again, it's a volunteer kind of thing here in Thailand. Those who want to go ahead and do that, they can do that. But as of now, and as of this, quoting directly from this doctor with the Thai Public Health Ministry, it remains a voluntary thing here in the Kingdom of Thailand.